I didn't mean for him to hear it. Honestly, I thought he was still in the shower. But he was standing there, quiet, still, just outside the door when I told my best friend something I never should have said. I guess I settled for him, I whispered through the phone, not knowing those 6 words would tear our world apart. It wasn't supposed to be a confession. I was venting, frustrated, tired, and a little emotional after another pointless argument about dinner plans and future goals. You know, the kind of stuff that builds up in a long-term relationship when things start to feel off. My friend asked if I still felt the same spark. I hesitated. Then I said it. Settled. And just like that, everything changed. When I came out of the room and saw him standing there, phone in hand, face blank, it hit me. He heard every word. But he didn't say anything. He just looked at me, nodded once, and walked out. I thought that was the end. That maybe he just needed space, or time to think. But then strange things started happening. He'd bring up things I hadn't told him, things I only messaged my friend. Little jokes, private thoughts, even the exact words I'd typed late at night. At first, I thought it was a coincidence. Then I got suspicious. That's when I checked my old laptop, the one we both use sometimes. And what I found made my stomach turn. He'd logged into my accounts. He'd read everything. Every message. Every doubt. Every moment I had second thoughts about our relationship. And he never once mentioned it. I didn't know what was worse, that he'd invaded my privacy, or that I had given him reasons to. What do you do when the person you're supposed to trust the most stops trusting you, and you don't even know when it started? I thought the worst part was behind us. But then, I found something else. Something I wasn't supposed to see. Something that made me question everything. And that's when I realized, maybe I wasn't the only one who had secrets. It started making sense, little by little. The weird way he suddenly stopped asking questions, like he already knew the answers. The way he'd act calm during fights, like he wasn't reacting anymore, just watching. Almost like he was playing along. At first, I blamed myself. I was the one who said I settled. I was the one who poured my thoughts into late-night texts instead of dealing with things face to face. But the more I thought about it, the more uneasy I felt. This wasn't just a guy who got his heart broken. This was someone who was hiding something too. We'd been together for 3 years. It wasn't always like this. In the beginning, it felt like we were meant for each other. He was funny in a quiet way, thoughtful, always noticing the little things I liked, my favorite drink, the way I needed silence in the mornings, the way I laughed when I was nervous. He made me feel seen. Safe. So even though we moved fast, it felt right. But after a year, things shifted. He became more distant. Less open. At first, I thought it was work stress. Then I blamed myself, maybe I wasn't exciting enough, maybe real relationships just aren't always passionate. So I stayed. Even when I felt like we were more like roommates than a couple. Even when I started texting my friend about how I wasn't sure anymore. How I didn't want to hurt him. How I didn't know if this was love or just comfort. He must have read all of it. Every doubt. Every message I thought was private. And yet, he never brought it up. Not even once. That's what scared me. Not the fact that he knew, but that he was pretending not to. The night I found out he was reading my messages, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept racing, and I remembered his old external drive, the one he used to back up his work files. Something told me to look. I know I shouldn't have. But I did. And what I found wasn't work. It was folders. Labeled by dates. Some with my name. I opened one. And what I saw. I wasn't ready. Inside that folder were screenshots. Hundreds of them. Not just messages between me and my best friend, there were chats from months ago I barely remembered. Notes from my private journal app. Even photos I didn't know he had. One was of me, sitting on the couch, typing on my phone. It had been taken from behind, clearly without me knowing. My heart started racing. I couldn't breathe properly. Why would he have all this? Why keep it? Was this just about me saying I settled, or had he been keeping tabs on me this entire time? I didn't know what to think. Was he hurt and just spiraling? Or had he always been watching, waiting, keeping score? I felt violated. Confused. But part of me still didn't want to believe he'd do something like this without a reason. That's when I started wondering, had I missed something? Had he suspected me of something first? Had I crossed a line without realizing it? And then another thought hit me. If he had been watching me this closely, what else did he know? That night, I barely slept. The next morning, I tried to act normal. I couldn't confront him yet, I needed answers first. So while he was in the shower, I went back to the drive. I opened another folder. This one was labeled June 12th. I clicked through the files, expecting more messages, maybe another creepy photo. But instead, I saw a video. A screen recording. I recognized my messages immediately, but what shocked me was the other side of the chat. It wasn't my best friend. It was someone else entirely. A name I didn't recognize. He'd been messaging someone about me. Sharing things I had said. Forwarding my texts. Calling me dramatic. Disloyal. Even manipulative. Like he was gathering evidence against me. But for what? Now, the story wasn't just about betrayal, it was turning into something else. Something darker. Because if he had a reason to collect this much, what was he planning to do with it? And who was he sharing it with? I thought I was the one who made a mistake by settling. But now I wasn't sure who I was really with. My hands were shaking as I closed the laptop. My heart felt like it was beating out of my chest. All this time, I thought I was the one pulling away. I thought I was the one hurting him. But now, I didn't even know who I was living with. He wasn't just reading my private messages, he was sharing them with someone I didn't even know. And the way he described me, like I was this cold, selfish person who had strung him along. As if he was the victim in some story he was rewriting behind my back. I started replaying every moment from the past few months in my mind. The weird silence after arguments. The sudden changes in his mood. How he'd back off before I could ask too many questions. How he stopped opening up, stopped being affectionate, but never left. Like he was waiting for something. Later that day, I saw him texting again. Calm, casual. But his phone screen lit up and I caught a glimpse of that same name, the one from the video file. I memorized it and searched for it online when he left to run an errand. My stomach turned when I found her profile. She wasn't just some random contact. She worked in law. More specifically, family law. And her most recent post? Something about building your case quietly. That's when it all started to make sense. He was collecting everything. Every message, every private conversation, every late-night doubt. Not to fix us. Not to understand me. But to build something behind my back. A case. Against me. I didn't know if it was for a breakup, some financial angle, or something even messier. But he was one step ahead, and I was just starting to see it. The worst part was pretending everything was fine. Smiling, making dinner, answering his casual questions like I wasn't silently screaming inside. I needed time. I needed to figure out my next move without tipping him off. But every moment around him felt like walking on glass. That night, while he slept beside me, I stared at the ceiling, wide awake. I knew I had to do something. But I also knew that if I made the wrong move, he might already have the upper hand. The next morning, I acted like nothing had changed. I kissed his cheek, made coffee, laughed at his dry jokes. But inside, I was unraveling. Every word I said felt fake, every glance I gave him carefully calculated. I was buying time, pretending to be clueless while I tried to figure out how deep this really went. My gut told me this wasn't just about us anymore. Whatever he was doing, it had a purpose. And I was starting to think he didn't just want to leave me. He wanted to destroy me first. While he was at work, I copied everything from his external drive onto my own flash drive, just in case. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I knew I needed evidence too. If he was building a case, I couldn't be left empty-handed. As I was scanning through more folders, I saw one that hadn't been there before. It was new, dated just 3 days ago. I hesitated, then opened it. Inside were screenshots of my bank transactions. Private messages from apps I never even used on that shared laptop. Somehow, he had access to my phone data. Even photos I'd deleted. Things I never shared with anyone. One screenshot stopped me cold. It was a message from a guy I used to talk to before we got together. We had reconnected once, just briefly, over a casual chat. Nothing romantic. But reading it now, out of context, it looked bad. Like I had been hiding something. Manipulating him. That's when the second twist hit me. He wasn't just preparing for a breakup. He was planning to flip the story. Paint me as the one who lied, cheated, and emotionally neglected him. Everything he had saved could be used to twist the truth. And the worst part? People might actually believe him. I felt like the walls were closing in. I needed to talk to someone I could trust. So I called my best friend, finally, directly, not through text. I told her everything. And her response made the ground shift under me again. I think he messaged me, she said slowly. From a fake account. Weeks ago. Asking about you. Like, testing me. He'd been digging everywhere. Even through the people closest to me. Now I wasn't just scared of a breakup. I was scared of being blindsided by someone who knew every move I made before I made it. I had to act fast, but I had no idea who else he'd looped into this. I couldn't trust anything anymore, not even the silence. I decided that night would be the end of pretending. I couldn't take another second of living in that house like a stranger, constantly watching my back. He came home late, like usual, acting normal. Calm. Polite. Like nothing was boiling under the surface. I waited until after dinner, until we were both sitting on the couch, the TV playing something neither of us was watching. My hands were sweating. I turned to him and simply said, I know. He didn't even flinch. He just looked at me and tilted his head a little. Know what? He asked, like he was daring me to say it. I told him everything, about the drive, the messages, the screenshots, the fake account messaging my best friend. For a second, I thought I saw it, the panic flash across his face. But it vanished just as fast. You invaded my privacy first, he said flatly. You called our relationship a mistake. You settled. What did you think would happen? I told him I never wanted to hurt him, but spying, twisting things, making it look like I was some monster. That wasn't love. That was revenge. And that's when he lost it. His calm mask dropped, and I saw the anger. All the hurt, the pride, the control, everything he'd kept bottled up. He admitted he wanted to ruin my reputation, make sure no one believed me when I finally left. I gave everything to you, he said. And you were always halfway out the door. I stood up, heart pounding, and walked to the table where I had placed my phone, recording everything. I showed him the screen. I gave you a chance to tell the truth, I said. Now I've got yours. He stared at the phone, speechless. But just as I thought I had turned the tables for good, he said something I didn't see coming. Check your friend's messages again, he whispered. You think I'm the only one lying to you? Later that night, I did. And what I found was worse than everything he'd done. My best friend, the one I vented to, trusted, cried with, had been feeding him screenshots the whole time. Playing both sides. Saying she was helping me, while quietly helping him build his story. It wasn't just him who betrayed me. I stared at the messages from my best friend, reading them over and over, hoping I'd somehow misunderstood. But I hadn't. There they were, Screenshots of my texts, my voice notes, even photos I had sent her, all forwarded to him behind my back. Some of them were followed by her comments, downplaying me, joking about how dramatic I was being. I felt sick. She wasn't just a bystander in this, she was part of it. Feeding his narrative while pretending to comfort me. I trusted her like a sister. And she used that trust to help him tear me apart. I didn't confront her right away. I needed distance. I packed a bag, told him I was leaving, and walked out of that house for good. He didn't stop me. He didn't say a word. Just stood there, watching. And somehow, that silence hurt more than if he'd screamed. I stayed with a cousin for a while, someone far removed from all of this. It gave me space to think, to breathe, to figure out how I got so far from myself. In the weeks that followed, I blocked them both. I changed passwords, deleted old accounts, and started over. I also kept the files, the screenshots, the recordings, everything. Not for revenge. Just to protect myself. If he ever tried to twist the story again, I'd have the truth in my corner. What hurt most wasn't that they betrayed me. It was how easy it was for them to do it. No guilt, no hesitation. Just quiet choices that chipped away at me until I finally saw it all. But in the end, I was free. I started writing again, privately, for myself. Journaling. Reflecting. I learned how much I had ignored my own voice just to keep the peace, how many red flags I explained away as love. What started as a relationship full of comfort had turned into control. And the people I thought were in my corner? They weren't. But I am now. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that love shouldn't feel like surveillance. Friendship shouldn't come with secrets. And settling isn't just about who you're with, it's about who you become when you stop listening to your gut. This wasn't the ending I expected. But maybe it's the one I needed.